Damn. Dogs are going nuts out there. What the hell is going on?
It's what's going nuts out there? Politics,
my
social people.
Neighbor's dogs.
Oh.
Bigfoot. It's a Bigfoot.
Yeah, probably a Littlefoot coyote. And I'll have to go shoot some shit. I gotta go kill some stuff, I think. What the hell are we doing?
You found a thing in a box.
Oh, sure. Are we live? Oh, my God. Oh, my God. What did I do this for? I've been reading Bernardo Kastrup and listening to Josh Rasmussen and listening to just various idealists and dualists and what all the different flavors and varieties. And man, there's many flavors as Baskin-Robbins has ice cream on these guys. But I got a couple of things that I'd like to share, if that's okay. Is that okay?
It's okay.
Right. Okay.
It's okay.
Quite good. Okay, one of them, which we'll get to, is basically Bernardo Kastrup's book, which is this thing right here. And it's called, what the hell? It's called Why Materialism is Baloney. Isn't that a great name for a book?
Is it like baloney and BS, or is it as in baloney akin to a hot dog?
I don't know. Maybe it's like,
it kind of makes me not feel too guilty about having a stream called Why Josh Rasmussen is all wet. It's just, okay, if we're going to get it like that from all these people, then we can give it back just as well.
Anyway, Josh, if you are listening, I apologize. I do poke a little fun in my titles. I don't mean anything by it. I'm hoping to have Josh Rasmussen on the channel here within the next few months, and I think it'll be a wonderful conversation. And I'm going to do that one alone. It's going to be a one-on-one.
Aw.
And yeah, I'm going to do it. I'm not going to we're not going to grill the Christian.
I would never.
We're just going to singe him a little bit. We're not going to grill him.
Right. Yeah, if he's listening, I hope he does come on. And Mike is a great host when he has guests on. So,
there's one reason why I listen to these guys, and it's not because I hate them or I disagree with them so badly that I want to destroy them. It's because I accept the possibility that I could be all wet, that I could be wrong. And these are very intelligent people, and I want to hear their arguments, and I want to have that conversation, because what I've read about them and watched, I'm not convinced at all. I'm so unconvinced, but I'm hoping that if I have them on in person, that they'll say one little thing that will convince me, and I'll be an idealist or a dualist, or I'll become a Christian. I mean, at the end of the day, that's kind of why I listen to the creationists and all these people, because I want to hear the criticisms of my position. I want to know if I'm wrong.
And an argument from ignorance is a weak position too. So
yeah, and
maybe
one of these days you'll get an actual criticism from a creationist.
Yeah, I mean, I'd welcome that. I mean, if they could convince me that Christianity was correct and God was, that God existed, I'd be in church next Sunday, and I would change the name of my channel, and I would start. I mean, somebody please convince me. So far, from my 8-year-old boy, when I told my mom, this stuff's bullshit, I have not had good reason to believe, and I'm just dying for somebody to hand me that reason. I mean, that'd be fine. I love changing my mind entirely.
And I've taken interest in many things over the years, from religions to magic to spiritualism to
So
out of bodies and lucid dreaming. And yeah, I mean, if any of that stuff is actually real, I'm all in.
Yeah. So we're going to listen to this guy first here. This is Scott Carney. I don't know who the hell he is. I just found him. He just came up in my feed because I'm listening to consciousness videos. But Scott has something, how science has consciousness all wrong. And the thumbnail for it is God of the Gaps. So,
yeah, it's all wrong. Yeah, scientists, people who study neuroscience and crap like that, have it all wrong.
All wrong. Well, let's listen to what he has to say here.
So, science, and I guess you could say rational thinking in general, have a problem. Despite having incredible power to describe the physical world, no researcher operating a particle accelerator or neuroscientist dissecting the brain has even the faintest clue what consciousness is. All they find when they tear physical systems apart are interrelated parts and uncertainty at how they add up to how we experience the world. You would think that this would be a humbling reality. However, when someone suggests that consciousness could be a force or an emergent property of quantum physics, or heck, a bearded god sitting on a cloud dictating reality, skeptics like Richard Dawkins or Brian Greene will call foul. They'll say that those theories are inherently unscientific and cannot be true. They say that theories that place God in the gaps of scientific knowledge are inherently wrong.
Yep.
But I have to ask you, what is the bigger gap? The faith that science will eventually describe consciousness if only it gets more powerful tools, or that it's obvious that we're conscious already and we should use the data we have on hand to describe it. There's a major problem inherent with dismissing out-of-the-box theories as a god in the gaps. Science is a conscious endeavor. It arises out of the subjective desire to describe the world. And if skeptics really believed that we were only inert matter, then there would be no reason to conduct scientific research in the first place.
False.
And no reason to try to describe the world to other people. In other words, there's a God in the gaps because the gap is so large that it contains the entirety of human knowledge inside.
Religious people use science to cure diseases so that they don't die. Right. There just discredits exactly what he said at the end there. There's no religious reason or not to do science or not. Science has a lot to do, like, how do we feed everybody in the world today? Science. It's not this either or thing. That's totally bogus.
This still shot I have of him here is when he when I ask him, what is consciousness again? How are you defining that? Which kind of brings me to the thing in a box, right? So we have a thing in a box that I want to talk about. So when we talk about consciousness in the mind, okay, it's imagine a world or a culture or a civilization where all of us have a thing in a box, and we all have this thing in a box, and no one can see anyone else's thing in the box. We're the only ones that can see the thing in a box. In fact, no one else can even see our box. They can just see the thing in a box. Well, no, let's say they can see the box, which would be your skull, but they can't see the thing in a box. I can't show you my thing in a box. What I can do is tell you about my thing in the box. And you might ask, well, what is your thing in the box? And it's like, well, yeah, it looks like trees, and sometimes it looks like the color red. It has a quality of love, and sometimes it has a quality of pain. And but what does it look like? It kind of looks like the sky sometimes, and sometimes it looks like trees, and sometimes it looks like a rock. Sometimes it looks like you, when you're standing in front of me. And but it's my thing in a box, and I know I have it. We all know. In fact, I know you have a thing in a box. I know everybody has their own private little thing in the box. But I can't tell you anything about it other than to tell you what the thing in the box seems to reflect all the time, right? I tell you, well, oh, the thing in the box is, I think it's having thoughts now. It's like, it's got a concept. Well, what is that? Well, it's like a concept of you. I have a concept of you inside of my thing in the box. Now, the problem with consciousness and the mind is not that science can't explain it. It's that we don't know how to ask the fucking question. Okay? We don't know how to describe the thing in the box that we now, okay, if I ask you about trees, right? Dave, you have trees in your yard. And as say I don't have trees in my yard, and I ask you about trees, and you could tell me about a tree. You could tell me it has leaves, it has a stem. You can do tests. You can cut a piece of it and send it to me. You can fly me over there. You and I can sit around the tree, touch it. We can cut it down, burn it. We can eat it. We can do all this stuff with the tree. There's no problem when it comes to physical things, and that's why science works on those physical things to tell us what they are, how they work. We put the tree under the microscope, and we find all this cellulose, and we find cells, and we find leaves. That is doing science, right? But when it comes to the thing in the box that I have, how in the fuck is science going to work on that, right? Okay, they can look at my box, they can picture my box, but they can never see my thing.
What's in the box? Sorry,
I'm a fan of Peter Atkins, and Peter Atkins always addresses these questions that science doesn't care.
About the thing in the box? Yeah.
Yeah, you're going to bring in your thing in the box, and the scientists are like, we're trying to do science here. While at the same time, there can still be scientists that are believers. They, too, are not spending time on an empty evidence bag. When you have something in the bag, then either or, believer or not, the scientists will look at it. But the idea of here's an empty evidence bag, please run tests on it, is just absurd. And Peter Atkins just dismisses it outright. I love listening to Peter Atkins.
Yeah, I wouldn't dismiss it outright because okay, we have curiosity about trees and things in the world and rocks and all that and stars, and we want to know about them, right? And we all have curiosity about this thing that we have in a box because I'm convinced that we all have this thing called mind and consciousness in a box, right? That something is going on, as we perceive the world. And so what I need to do, like if I explain to you what a rock is, or explain why soda cans fizz when you shake them, I tell you about it, and in that process, you develop an intuition about what it is I'm explaining. And at some point, you'll get this aha moment where your intuition will be satisfied, right? And when it's satisfied, you'll say, aha, that's it. But when it comes to mind and consciousness, it's a little trickier to develop that intuition because we all have this thing in a box and nobody else can see it. We can't all stand around, look at it, slice it, dice it, taste it, smell it. We just all have it. And so we're kind of stuck. So, and that would be called the hard problem of consciousness. But what I call it is the hard problem of intuition, that we have trouble developing the proper intuition for what we are in the world and what it means to have this mind and experience and consciousness. And over the last 10, 20 years, I've worked very hard and long, the last 15 years, really hard on developing that intuition. But anyway, so just
it's also true though that when they say we know absolutely nothing about consciousness, that we do know a lot of things about consciousness, even if we can't explain it. It's like dark matter. We know it exists. We just have to work on explaining it, right?
Right.
Yeah, when you get a second, there's my Peter Atkins video. It's really short.
Let's watch it. Yeah, we have to work hard to develop the intuition. And first of all, we have to work really. And none of these guys that talk about the mind is, fundamental or the mind is God or anything. None of them will spend any time at all talking about what the hell is the mind and consciousness. Tell me about your thing in the box before you start going on and on, criticizing materialism. Tell me about what the fuck you are trying to explain to me. But they never do that. They say, oh, we all know what consciousness is. Do we?
Because it has to be spiritual. That's why.
Yeah. It's like, oh, we all know what
non-material.
You ever see that Steve Martin routine, early Saturday Night Live, where it's like, what the hell is that thing? And I know what that thing is. And then he gets a confused look and it's like, what is that thing? And he keeps doing it over and over again. And that's what consciousness is like. It's like, what the hell is that thing you're talking about?
That's what I remember. What the hell is that?
Yeah, what the
hell? Don't get your lips on it, kids. That kind of thing.
My favorite was when he did the King Tut. That was...
Oh, fuck. The King Tut routine was
King Tut was great.
That was a pinnacle of Steve Martin, actually.
Yep.
Yeah, that song was such a rage for a while there in the 70s when I was in elementary school.
Yep. Well, let's listen to Peter Atkins. And I was going to do something else. I was going to put this in the description.
Can't be rational and a Christian.
Right. Any response, John? The gloves are off.
Yes, Peter, yes, I have a response. What do you say to a Nobel Prize-winning physicist who's a Christian? Grow up.
Oh my God. That was it?
That was it. He said, you can't be rational and be a Christian. And he said, well, what about them Christian scientists? Grow up. He takes no prisoner or no quarter. That's why I call it no quarter. Because it's nonsense. Like you said, he says, quit. You keep bringing me these empty evidence bags. I've got other things to do. You know what I mean? And he's at that age where he's like, I'm 70 some years old. And for 50 some years, you've been bringing me empty evidence bags. I have no tolerance whatsoever to hear it once again. And I feel for him every day I get older, and Mike understands too. The longer we hear these things over the years, that's the same thing over and over. That's an empty evidence bag. We start getting a little short, and it's not personal. It's just he doesn't have time to hear it again. Yeah.
Yeah, Icarus, I'm not going to put that up on the screen. So anyway, probably better that way. But I've got Chris Moore's thing here. I think we got we got a few more people watching. But anyway. So this guy, Keto Academy. Keto Academy is like in another language or like blah, blah, blah. But anyway, Bernardo Kastrup, somebody did a blog about him. And they said he was a cult leader, like he's got a cult following. Well, if you notice his book here, okay, I want to show you something. On his book, How True Skeptics Know There Is No Death and Fathom Answers to Life, the Universe, and Everything. At the top of his book is a quote by guess who? Who's that? Deepak Chopra, MD. MD. Bernardo Kastrup's book is another nail in the coffin of superstition and materialism. With elegant clarity, he explains that the mind, brain, and cosmos are what consciousness does. And it's like, I'm on page like about 70 in this book, and so far he's not getting the door prize here. He hasn't convinced me of much. Just really horseshit arguments. I mean, they're just really. But anyway, Bernardo Kastrup believes in, okay, here's his view on it. He's a monist. He's not a dualist, right? He believes everything is mind. But he believes that each of us are filtered by our brains, basically. We filter out a piece of the global one mind. He believes in the Kafai one mind, that there's one mind that makes all of reality. And that mind, apparently, it's all mind stuff in this mind, and it makes all of physical reality. And each of us, okay, this one mind has imagined a brain and a body in each of us. And somehow, each of us have a part of the one mind. and we filter out everything that, like, okay, I'm filtering out what you and Scott, you and Dave can see. I can't see that because my brain is filtering it out. I can only see what I see. I see a cup and I see a monitor. I see Restream. I see my iPad. And so that's his idea, that we are disassociated persons inside of one mind. Now, the interesting, alluring thing about that is that's kind of the Ellen Watts Buddhist idea too, but it's going to take a little unpacking to compare those two ideas. You know, that there's, because they're not exactly the same. But anyway, I want you to listen to what he has to say about death and meaning in life and stuff like that. Is that okay?
It's okay.
Is okay.
It's all right. It's all right.
It's all right. Okay, hang on a second. I put him on there somewhere. Okay, there he is. So this is When We Die and the Meaning of Life, Analytic Idealism course, episode 6. It's about 15 minutes long, but we'll just listen to a little. Whoops, I got him shut off.
Which is coming for all of us.
Death.
What does analytic idealism tell us about death? Particularly the first-person perspective of death. What do we experience as we die? Now, there's good and bad news. I'll start.
What we usually experience is a lot of screaming and
A lot of coughing, a lot of shitting.
denial. Yeah. I want to die in my sleep.
Both of my parents had something pop in their brain, so I guess there's worse ways to go.
Yeah.
I just want to like have a meteor land on my head.
I want to die in my sleep like my grandpa, not screaming like his passengers. Yep. That's my goal.
With the bad news. One of the main social psychological reasons why materialism has taken such a fundamental hold in our culture since the late 19th century, it's because it did away with the greatest fear of humankind throughout almost the entirety of our history, which was the fear of what we will experience after we die.
Okay, now this is really interesting because I haven't heard this angle before. This is a new angle. Okay, materialism doesn't. Okay, often we say that religion gets rid of the fear of death because, you know, we go to heaven. No, he's saying the opposite. He says the reason that materialism is so popular is because it alleviates the fear of death. But let's hear why.
In Christian language, are we going to go to hell? This singular fear, the biggest fear in human history, has been used by governments and power structures worldwide to control civilizations, to control societies. It's the single most dominant fear in the history of humankind. And materialism did away with it because...
I want to point out that Bernardo Kastrup, in almost all of his arguments, he turns things inside out. Now, what do you think of this? He's saying that materialism is desirable because atheists are afraid of hell, is what he's saying.
I think it's wondrous that after I'm gone, my elements are still going to be something else.
Yeah.
And there's also the possibility that a few of them, those particles, may actually leave our planet because we do expel particles. And that someday one of my particles is actually going to be on another world. I think that's amazing. And that's what everything in the universe is, you know, like a big recycle plant. You're this for a little bit, you're this for a little bit. That goes for the stars, the planets, and everything else.
Yeah, but if you're subject to a Western burial, they put you in an airtight metal coffin, and then they stick you in a concrete vault, and then they bury you 6 feet under. They do their best to turn you into a rock that isn't going to see the light of day for 100 million years, right?
That's what my mother wanted, though, so I honored her wishes.
Yeah, my mom wanted to be buried in a vault, and it's like, why, Mom? It's like, she didn't want worms
Not
to
only
get her.
that, they're going to empty you of all your blood and fluids and replace it with some sort of chemical.
Oh yeah, but that blood and fluids that go into the sewage system and become part of a tree.
Well, that's true. That's true.
Well,
I think your dream will come true, Dave.
Yeah.
Well, as a materialist, why do I take flowers to the cemetery? Because I promised my mother that she wouldn't be forgotten, because she was worried nobody would visit her. So as long as I have breath in me, and my sons are aware of it too, you got to go there, trim the grass around the stone, brush it off, and leave some flowers. Just because Grandma was so awesome of a person, she earned it.
Yeah. Yeah. That's why we honor the fallen.
And I tell her we miss her, and my brother's there too. And I tell him, by the way, your Steelers suck. And are they hearing me? No, but it's what I do. And there's no rhyme or reason other than it's just a respect thing from my mother and my brother. That's all.
Yeah. God. Well, I don't know if I'll talk about that, but I've had conversations with the dead, like for 3 or 4 weeks after she died. I'd have conversations every time I drove out to clean out the apartment and all that stuff. And those conversations, I would have been really shocked if she had answered. But those conversations were something I absolutely had to do in order to keep myself sane for 4 weeks. But that's what we do. We talk to the dead. Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, I usually go around apologizing to my mom. Like, oh, I'm
Yep.
sorry, Mom.
Yep. That's mostly.
I'm sorry. Or I'll remember something I said to her when I was a teenager and start feeling bad. And Mom, I'm sorry. You know,
and I have no excuse when I'm there to take care of my grandmother's, because she's only a few stones over. Yeah. And then my other grandparents are a 2 o'clock, about 100-yard walk from them. So, because I was showing my son the other day how easy it is to find the family. So they're all in the same area. So I got no excuse. So we, of course, took care of the other stones and cleaned them all up and left flowers and, so. But there's no reason other than they were good people. They were always good to me. Now that doesn't mean I'm going to visit every graveside and treat it with the same respect or anything. I may dance on somebody else's, but
I actually danced on a guy's grave.
My grandparents were great. I loved my grandparents. They always were great with us, and so I take 5 minutes to trim the weeds and brush their stone off. It's like, oh no,
I go out and do my grandpa and grandma's grave every year. Go out and cut the grass around it. For a while I didn't, and I could barely even find it when I went out there. They died when I was like 6 years old, 6 and 11. So anyway, okay. What do you think of the way he's turning this upside down? That materialism is so desirable because it eliminates the fear of death. Now, normally a Christian will say, you atheists should be really afraid of dying and annihilation, right? In fact, Rebecca thinks that is the price you pay for sin, is that you die, you become annihilated. But Bernardo here is turning that around upside down.
I've watched a guy that works with people that are in end-of-life facilities. And these are people that are what would you say? They're aware. They're pretty much they're not bedridden. They can walk around. You know what I mean? They're not what's the word? They're not invalids or anything, right? They're here with us, and you can talk to them and everything. But they know the time is about there. These people that are in their 90s and everything, and they achieve a real peaceful state almost with everyone that he's talked to a few days before they pass away.
Yeah.
And it has nothing to do with what you believe. They just, they become at peace with it, and they start, having like what they call your flashback. They start thinking about loved ones and everything, and they just get really happy and blissful, and then in a few days they'll pass away. It's almost like a sign.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. There's a bunch of videos on it. It's fascinating.
Okay, deconverted man, I'm going to trust you and play this.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, I know. Remember that time we trusted him and we
I'm gonna cover my eyes. I'm gonna cover my eyes.
Avert your eyes, ye.
Come on. Get on that.
Hello? Let me out! Where the fuck am I? Hello? Hello? Let me out! It's fucking dark in here! I got that police I can hear! Look, let me out! Hello? Hello? Stop the mask! Stop, I can hear you! Hello? Hello? Please! Hello? Who's there? Hello? Easy, shame me, I'm in the box. No, I'm fucking front of you, I'm dead. Hello again, hello. I was called to say goodbye. I'm going to die, I'm afraid to say hello again, hello.
Oh my God, that is fucking great. I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that. That is the greatest idea ever. I like that one.
And there again, he seems to, you know what? The time is coming, and I'm going to make this little recording. It's.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, like the T-shirt that I picked out to be buried in says, "You're laughing now, but will you be laughing when I crawl out from underneath your bed?" That's what I want to be buried in. When people walk up to my coffin and look at that shit.
Yeah, don't be conventional. Why be conventional?
Right.
I tell my kids, yeah, you don't want me to haunt you, so you better behave.
Hang on a second, guys. I'm gonna go look out the window and see what's going on out here.
Oh, the raccoons.
It's Bigfoot.
They're forming.
Gosh, how many times do I have to tell you?
The raccoons are forming a union. They're striking outside and protesting outside the window.
Those are shape-shifting Bigfoots.
The only thing that's going on is the dogs barking. I don't know if they're barking at themselves or whatever. Can you hear that?
Yep.
I'm gonna go shut my window. Yeah, what the fuck?
Mine are being quiet, so I wonder what they're up to.
Yeah. Okay, let's listen to Bernardo here. We got to get to him. Whoops.
You will not experience anything after you die. There is no hell. There is no heaven either, but there is no hell. There is no reason to be anxious about that great, scary unknown, because there will be no subject there. Someone said once, where death is, I am not. Where I am, death is not. And that's a materialist axiom, or a materialist theorem, if you will. Unfortunately, under analytic idealism...
That's actually a grown-up axiom. That's what grown-ups think.
Your core subjectivity remains as you go through the process of death and even after. Because your core subjectivity is the core subjectivity of nature. It's what exists. Where is it going to go? Life and death happen to it, within it. Life and death are events in core subjectivity, not the beginning and end of core subjectivity. So the core subjectivity in you, that thing that remains when you are in an ideal sensory deprivation chamber, completely amnesic, that thing that remains through the reassociation process that we call death. So there will be someone there will be something there to experience. And the greatest fear of humankind is back.
You don't know that.
Now, the good news is we go through a reassociative process every single day. When we are asleep and dreaming, we are dissociated internally. We identify with our dream avatar, not with the cars and buildings and streets and trees and other people in our dream. We think those things are other than us. because we are the dream avatar. When we wake up from a dream, we realize that actually it was us doing the whole thing. We were doing everything. Not only the dream avatar, we were the whole thing. And the moment we wake up, our dream avatar dies. He's toast. He's dead. He's gone. But nobody goes around mourning the death of their dream avatar every morning, because you realized that you were it, but it was not you. In other words, you were the superset. Your dream avatar was something you were doing, not what you are.
Okay. So, there's elements of wisdom in what he's saying, but he's got it all flipped around. But okay, what he left out is when you go to sleep, you don't start dreaming, and you don't dream the whole time you're asleep. You can go to sleep for 8 hours and have zero consciousness, and it's exactly as if you were dead for 8 hours. Okay? Your thalamus will shut everything off. You'll go into a deep cycle sleep, or you won't remember dreams and whatever. And he leaves that part out for some reason. But that's more like, and he's right, you do die every night, and we're not afraid of that. And we're not afraid of the death that we had before we were born. So, I mean, like, he kind of touches on some aspects of Buddhist thinking that kind of get you right with the idea of, dying and what you are and all that stuff. But this bullshit that you're going to become part, as soon as you die, all of a sudden you're going to expand into this core subjectivity that underlies all of reality, and you're going to feel just like you were alive, right? But if you listen to him, he'll tell you that you're not going to have your senses. So you're not going to be sensing things that you sense when you wake up in the morning. You're not going to be thinking about your friends and your relatives and your dogs and your cats and your loved ones. You're going to be thinking about everything in the universe. And so if you can imagine that, what the fuck would that be like? I mean,
I see dreams like defragging your computer.
Yeah.
And that's also why you have to sleep, because
that's what they do.
It's got to reorganize everything. It's got to sort out all your memories and put everything, all this right and everything. And if you were able to watch your brain defragging, you would get all these little blips, like pictures of your mom, pictures of, you with your first car, your first girlfriend, the day you got married, all these little things. As it's shuffling them all around and filing them and putting them all nice and neat in order of your life, you'd be getting all these little flashes. And that's almost what a dream is like. And wow, it's material.
Yeah, and then as you're waking up and remembering your dream, I think that's where you put together the narrative that is our dreams. That's part of the process of coming out of it. But if you were to experience what happens when you're actually dreaming, if you could actually somehow be awake for that, it would be like defragging the computer. You'd see little flashes every second. It'd be something else. Yeah. And if you want, there is a way to experience that, and it's called 5 grams. And what happens?
Where's Kafai at?
Yeah. What happens is you get one memory, like every second, a new memory. It's just like pages turning. And the process of sleeping and dreaming is the process that has been researched fairly well, but not a lot of people talk about it. But it's your hippocampus taking your temporary, fast, short-term memories and incorporating them into your long-term cortex. And what it does is it picks out the most emotionally salient parts of the day. Like, for instance, if you got chased down by a bear, that would be what your hippocampus was most concerned with while you were sleeping. And that would be integrated into your cortex, into your long-term memory, which is basically how we learn things. And that's why it's really a good idea. If you learn a difficult subject, go take a nap for 20 minutes. And you're far more likely to remember what you just learned that's going to incorporate. But
and it is a I can't say it. analogous.
Analogous.
Analogous. Oh, I just couldn't say it.
I think
It is analogous with a computer because, like you were saying, it's got to go and look and find the folders and the files of what day was it that you fell off your bike or whatever, and then it's going to take this new thing and it's going to stick that new memory you have of because your son fell off their bike, and so you're going to put that in that folder, in that file with the falling off the bike memories, and the brain has to find all this stuff, and it's like a gigantic card file system, you know, that just goes on and on and on in this gigantic round room, you know, and you just got to go and find that card file, stick this here, and that's why everything goes haywire if you don't have sleep and your brain doesn't have the time to do that, because you're like a computer that hasn't been cleaned up. You start slowing down, the things don't operate right, your chemicals aren't being released at the right time, so you're not getting your doses, and then you're all screwed up. And it is analogous to cleaning up your computer and put how things are stored in all the files and everything, and then how it's accessed, because the computer has to have that RAM and everything to find those things again, or it's worthless to have it all stored in your brain if you can't go back and find it again.
Counting backwards under surgery, going under is really a cool thing. When I had
3 seconds, for like 3 seconds, it's like, whoa.
Yeah, I'm like 99, 98. What? I'm gone. Yeah.
And that new stuff, have you had that new stuff they give you where you just out and then you wake back up and you're not groggy or anything?
No. Well, I'm not sure what they gave me when I went for kidney surgery.
Yeah, they cut out your memory of it. They're actually fucking with your memory with those new medications.
And when I got the tube down my throat, she told me that, you're just going to be out and you're going to be right back. And I said, oh, okay. She said, it's great new stuff. And she says, okay, we're going to give it to you now. Blink, I'm out. Blink, I'm waking back up. She says,
oh, yeah.
How you doing? I'm like, I sat right up and I'm like, feeling fine. Not groggy or anything. Got right up, walked out to the car with the wife waiting me. It's amazing stuff.
Cool.
But your memories, your subconscious memories anyway, were obliterated.
Yeah, it's a light switch.
There's no dreaming during surgery, or well, you did, but then they erased it.
And the best thing is it doesn't have that lingering grogginess. You're just back up again.
I really would like to talk to Dr. Thompson now, because now that I realize what, or was thinking about what those anesthetics do, they must know a hell of a lot about how the brain processes notions of memories of pain and all that.
They have to know a lot about unconsciousness so that you're in that state.
Yeah.
So that's the one guy I was just listening to had the NDE. He had the NDE after he passed out from having a lot of hours of intense pain. And then, of course, the first thing, or as a response, the brain finally, not actually the first thing, but the brain finally said, okay, you're going to pass out, and it's going to shut you down and put you unconscious because it couldn't take the pain anymore.
Yeah. Okay. So,
of course, he thinks it was all spiritual, but it was the brain just said, enough. If you go unconscious, it can then take over and shut off the pain. And that's exactly what happened, because as soon as he passed out, he said, I felt all better. It's like amazing, isn't it?
In Bernardo's book here, he talks about some near-death researchers and stuff, and I looked them up. And they had, one of them had 170 subjects that they had near-death, that basically had a death experience. And out of those, I think 2 of them, or 14 of them had a coherent NDE out of the 170 people that died on the table and came back. It's only about 14, so they had a sample of 14. And 2 of them claimed two of them had credible memories of audio that they couldn't have heard because their brain was, basically pretty much shut off. And out of those two, one of them they rejected for some reason, and the other one was not conclusive. And they've done these things over and over again. They'll write something down and put it on a shelf. And so far, to the best of my knowledge, nobody's done anything other than guess what was on the shelf, or basically come up with things like, yeah, I heard the nurse talking about something, and just happened to mention something that a nurse would be talking about, or whatever. But no NDEs. NDEs happen when you're waking up, just like dreams. Now, my theory on dreams is that dreams are completely plotless and disassociated. But as you wake up, as you come back to consciousness, you have these memories laying around, and you quickly knit them together into a story, into a narrative. And the next time you dream or wake up from a dream and you're remembering the dream, see if you can catch yourself making shit up to fill in the gaps of your dream. Right? Yeah.
The tennis shoes on the roof story, where she claimed she had a vision of the tennis shoes on the roof.
Oh, yeah.
And then it turned out the tennis shoes were actually on a window ledge she could see from her bedroom window. But she pieced it all together, and the story changed that she could see something that was on the roof she couldn't see, when actually earlier in the day, somehow, even if she was unconscious or whatever, she eyes opened or something, and she got an image of tennis shoes on a window ledge across the way.
Yep.
But the story changes, and then when it's reported in mostly believing media and sources, it's, oh yeah, no way you could have saw those tennis shoes on the roof.
Yeah, I don't know if this is similar to that experience or not, but I remember many a time when I was growing up, I had one of those digital clock radio things, and so the alarm was to turn on the radio, to wake you up. I know so many times that alarm would go off, and I'd be listening to that song and waking up, and it would mix with my dreams. And so I'd be having a dream about what song was on the radio, or what the DJ was saying in between songs, or something like that. It was just weird.
And like Mike said, just before you woke up.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah. So your senses were kind of coming back, and your ears are one of the things that don't truly turn off when you're sleeping. So yeah, you start picking that up. Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes too much sense, Scott. I'm sorry.
Yeah, way too much sense. Stop it.
We're making too much sense here. We're ruining Mike's buzz here.
Yeah, I don't know. My buzz is given out. We've been going an hour, but there's two things. One of them is this YouTube video that he did. He did a 7-part series on his idea, his analytical idealism, and I've been analyzing it heavily. But in part 7, he pretty much summarizes it all because he responds to all the criticisms of it. And then the other thing we got is his book, which I have a lot of highlights from, and he goes through. And here's where he does another thing where he turns materialism on its head, and he comes up with this straw man of materialism that sounds to me like naive idealism. So he completely straw mans physicalism, and then he goes ahead and tears it down. And it's just really kind of pisses me off. It's just amazing. So I don't know how much energy we all got.
I'm in. Go ahead.
So which way should we go? Should we listen to his objections? Oh, he does something else. He agrees with me about the unconscious. And it's one of the things that I will tell people, that there's no such thing as the unconscious mind. Okay, that's one of my tenets that I've come up with in the last 20 years. And that is a very non-mainstream view. But he agrees with me. But he takes it as proof for his idealism. And what I take it as is how you argue against idealists. So it's really cool how he flips things inside out. But anyway, we'll listen to a little bit of his video, I think. How about that?
Sounds good.
That'd that'd be a lightweight. But at some point, we can go over his book because I got, you know, I'm up to page 60, 70. I'm waiting for him to wow me. So far, his arguments have just been trashy. This guy ought to be kicked out of the philosophy club. I call him a philosophy. He's a weenie. Okay, here we go.
Do we know what
It's one of the
his his not qualifications, his training, his PhDs, his certifications, or whatever?
Yeah.
Do we
What
know
is he?
his
Oh.
past? I don't know.
I thought he was like a PhD philosopher. I assumed. Maybe I just assumed that. Let's look him up. Bernardo Kastrup. Bernardo Kastrup. We'll call him Kastrup. Bernardo Kastrup, Wikipedia. Oh my God, that one's not in English. Son of a bitch. Okay, he's a philosopher at Eindhoven University. Where the fuck is that? Of technology. Oh, he's a computer scientist and philosopher. So that's his training. Is in computer science. Let's look at Eindhoven. It's a university of technology. It looks like what is their big deal? Oh, they're not a religious place anyway. I don't think he has a PhD. So what are his credentials? The Universe is Consciousness is one of his papers that he wrote. So he's got an education, mostly in computer science. And he switched over to philosophy. So anyway, okay. The concreteness objection.
Historical objections against idealism. And that's the idea that, look, I can kick a stone and it will hurt my feet. So idealism is not true because the world has concreteness. The world is very concrete. And therefore, something that is so concrete, like a stone that I can't kick, or if I kick, it will hurt my toes, that cannot be mental. Well, to see the fallacy behind this objection, just keep in mind that concreteness is a mental quality. When we kick a stone and it hurts our toes, that hurt, that pain, is a mental quality. The solidity of the stone is a mental quality. So concreteness.
No.
Okay, so what he's saying here is that idealism is unfalsifiable because he's going to consist that every evidence of a physical universe that we have is just a mental quality. So, yeah. So, yeah, no. That's his answer to the first objection, is everything's a mental quality, so how can we prove physicalism? Like, this is what I mean by if you come up with a metaphysical model, you can come up with an infinite number of metaphysical models and you can make them all answer all questions. Just like Christians can and creationists, they can answer every question because it's just a narrative, right? If they're presented with some evidence, they'll just incorporate it into their narrative and they'll basically dust it off, shine it up, and make it part of their metaphysical idea. And that's what he's doing here. Everything physical.
Well, looks like I just got a delivery. You know what that means, Mike?
Oh, you got to go?
No, I texted my son to get the door.
Oh, okay.
That's
Oh,
something
it's
else.
your. Oh,
That's something else for Sunday. So
it's your witchy brew.
yeah.
Oh, good. Okay. I like some witchy brew. Oh, let's see.
We're gonna summon some. Well, I got some. As I said, I already got requests. Big Bad Mama wants a sexy ghost, a succubus with a good personality. So,
Yeah.
if anybody else has any requests, let me know, and we'll do what we can.
Oh, you know what happened last night? My son went to a meat house, like a meat place, like a Brazilian meat restaurant. And he brought me home a $70 Wagyu steak that was
Ooh.
about 5 inches high, rare. And then he charged me for it, but then he took a slice, so I charged him $10 for the slice. So I only owe him 60. But man, that was one hell of a steak. I mean, that thing. I want more of those things. That's witchy.
Nice.
Yeah, that's some witchy shit. Okay, what do we got here? So anyway, concreteness. He's just going to blow that off. Everything's a mental property. So now the next argument, I think, is called. What's the next one called? Private mind. Okay, this is where he kind of tips his hand. So we'll listen to this whole thing.
Next objection, that's the private mind's objection. And the idea is, okay, if always in one universal mind, how is it that I can't read your thoughts, feel your feelings, or know what's going on in China? Well, we've answered this ad nauseum in part.
Yeah, you don't know what my thing in the box is doing or what it looks like or anything about it.
For the idea here is to use the concept of dissociation, which is an empirical reality. We know dissociation happens in nature. We know dissociation can literally be blinding. A person with a dissociated alter that cannot see becomes literally blind in the sense.
Okay, what he's talking about here is this multiple personality disorder or dissociative personality disorder, where people will basically have completely separate persons, and they don't seem to have access to the other one. But I think if we had a psychologist in the room, they'd have a whole hell of a lot to say about this being an empirical reality. But anyway, he's using that to prove that we are dissociated parts of the world mind. Okay.
Very small note, it's dissociative identity disorder.
Okay, identity disorder. Yeah, and I guess there are some people that you can put something in front of them, and if they're in this other personality, they won't even see it, or at least they'll claim not to see it, or something will happen where they completely compartmentalize their mind. And the physical basis of mind, I think, would allow for that in a lot of ways, particularly like if you cut the brain in half for surgery for a really bad epilepsy. You'll end up with two different sides. This one guy was famously an atheist on one side and a Christian on the other. Fuck. Anyway, but that's what he's talking about here.
That there is
that's his
no
proof.
brain activity in the visual cortex of this person, even though the person's eyes are open and stuff is happening.
There is brain activity in the primary visual cortex, and I think he's talking out of his ass here. If they've scanned these people, they're going to find that the vision process is working fine. It's the prefrontal cortex that somehow is hiding it from the person or whatever. I would have to see the papers, and so far he hasn't linked one.
In front of the person, and nothing's wrong physiologically with the retina, with the optic nerve, nothing. And if the host personality comes back to executive control, then brain activity returns in the visual cortex. So look, there is this thing called dissociation in nature that we know is there, and it is capable of making a person unable to see the world right before the person's eyes, even though the person's eyes are open and fully working. That is the power of dissociation. It can prevent you from seeing what's right in front of you with your eyes open. Is it then a surprise that it...
Now I want to correct myself before I get too far, but 90% of what happens in your primary visual cortex is coming from further processes at the front of your brain going backwards. 10% is coming from your eyes, but I will claim that what he's talking about here, that 10% is going to be there. It's not going to disappear because you disassociated your personality. But I'll find a paper on it and we'll talk about it later.
It prevents me from reading your thoughts or knowing what's going on in China? I don't think it is. Moreover, dissociation and dissociated alters can interact with one another visually in terms of touch within the mind of the dissociated person. And that we've seen from research done at Harvard Medical School. and clinical research. So it's entirely analogous to what I propose is happening right now. We are dissociated authors of a spatially unbound field of subjectivity, and we can interact with each other and even touch each other within the context of this spatially unbound mind.
Okay. So that's what he believes. That when like if we shake hands, we're not actually shaking hands. Somehow our disassociated minds are connecting up and delivering shake hand signals.
Yeah, he kind of lost me there. I'm like, I'm trying to follow along really carefully, and then I lost.
Yeah.
As to what
It's
like it's physical. It's like when he said when you kick a rock, the reason you feel it is because of the physics of the properties of it, and it's the same reason that you don't feel the air when you kick it. It's not that you're just imagining it. It's if anybody kicks the air, it's okay. If anybody kicks a rock, it's not okay.
He has a far superior theory to yours, man. Like there's you, right, sitting here, and you kick the rock, right? But okay, all of that is in the Uber mind. So this is Uber mind. Like I'm gonna call Uber mind. I wonder if I have an Uber mind app on my phone. I've got Uber Eats and I've got Uber, but I don't know if I have Uber mind. But anyway, you kick the stone.
Call Kafai.
Yeah, you kick the stone.
You need to be Uber.
Okay, the stone is in the Uber mind, and you share a little bit of the Uber mind, right? This little part here about kicking the stone, and the Uber mind has your foot in. Okay, your foot is not part of your. Well, it's not a little part of your mind, a little part of the Uber mind. So when it hits the stone and you feel pain, the Uber mind gives you just a little bit of a signal, the pain part, right? But the Uber mind doesn't tell you what's inside the stone, right? So you can't see inside the stone. You can just feel the effect of it. Like, what the fuck? I mean, try to put that together. Try to put all of what he's saying together. It's like, okay, the Uber mind's going to give you the pain part, and it's going to give you the hard part of the stone, but the Uber mind knows about the inside of the stone, because if you crack the stone open and you and your friend look at it, the Uber mind's going to give you both a picture of what's inside the stone, because obviously what's inside the stone is in the fucking Uber mind, and it's not in either of your minds until you crack the stone open, and the pain from the stone is not in your mind until the Uber mind gives you your footness kicking the stone. I mean, he calls this parsimonious. That's what he calls it. He thinks reality is a simulation of an Uber mind, Icarus. So he thinks it's like it's all the Uber mind imagines the cosmos. The entire cosmos is just mental stuff, and it's in the Uber mind. The overminder is okay. Oh no! Somebody said Kafai 3 times, didn't they?
My bad.
The mind at large, or the
reducing
valve. Yeah, reducing valve of consciousness. Yeah. So this guy claims that our brains are not actually something to sense things. They're actually filters that cut out all the details from the Uber mind. And in other words, it filters out the greater cosmic consciousness. And then when you do some shrooms, or you have a near-death experience, or you get hit on the head, or you have some friend strangle you until you go unconscious, then all of a sudden the filter starts to break down, and you get more Uber mind inside of you. And that's how you have an NDE. That's how you have a psychedelic experience and all of that.
Yeah, but isn't this just the same as if we are living in the Matrix, or if we are the brain in the vat, or any of these things, then that is still the reality we have to deal with, right?
Yes.
It doesn't change anything.
It's exactly like physicalism, right? Because he's imagining that this mental thing has created an entire physical universe to the point where we can crack this rock in half and see what's inside of it. And two of us, sitting here looking at it will basically see the same fucking content because the Ubermind's going to share what's inside the rock, which
So
is exactly
it's indistinguishable from materialism because, again, if you and I both kick the rock, it's both going to hurt our toe. So if that's the way it's set up, it's the same as a materialistic universe. If there's all these, laws of physics in place in this matrix or whatever we're in, it's indistinguishable. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. And except until when you die. When you die, now he claims we're going to go into the Ubermind and we're going to have everything, but the thing you're not going to have when you die is you're not going to have any of your memories. You're not going to have any of your normal feelings of your body. You're not going to have proprioception. You're not going to have what you see. Well,
that's back to what I said earlier. That's materialistic, and when I die, I'm going to be other things. My elements are going to be some other things.
And no arthritis.
That's the same thing. I'm not going to be me anymore. I'm going to be something else, but I'm going to be part of the quote greater whole, right? It's still material. It's you can still explain it materialistically. I still don't see the difference.
So we have me. So I have all of my beliefs, right? I have all of my memories, my episodic memories, right? I have all of my learning knowledge of computer programming and all that bullshit. All that's there, right? I have the memories of my childhood. I have the feelings from my body, basically, bodily feelings, proprioception.
The feeling of a live minnow in your hand as you put it on a hook.
Yep.
Fishing.
I remember that. I remember feeling bad about hooking those minnows. I don't know. But anyway,
I must have been like a psychopath as a kid because I never had an ounce of sympathy for the minnow until like later in life.
I always had questions about fish feeling pain. My dad said, they don't feel pain. Just fuck them. I said, no, I don't want to fuck them. Especially if they can't feel anything. That would be like lack of consent, right? Anyway, I digress. So when you die, okay, all of this shit disappears. So what the fuck is left? I mean, when you talk about your thing in the box, right? We're talking about all that stuff, our memories, our feelings.
Sounds like he's advocating his own version of nirvana, in his own words. Like none of you is left, but there's this Ubermind, and you're, and it's not even that you've returned to the Ubermind. It's that you're not filtering it anymore into an individual local consciousness. It's almost like the Ubermind isn't diminished or added to at all because nothing that you've done has taken away from it. It's just filtered it in a locality.
Well, I always like to give people something to ponder. When you're born, you weigh about 7 pounds, give or take. And when you pass away, if they cremate you, it weighs about 7 pounds, give or take.
Wow. That's dark.
That kind of sits there, doesn't it? It just kind of does.
That's it. You're about a handful of some powdery chemicals and some gritty chemicals, and there's a little bit of gold in your hair too. Did you know that?
Cool. I want that. I'm gonna go catch it. Oh, not my hair.
Your hair used to have gold in it.
It used to have gold in it. Fucking somebody stole it. I don't know where.
I bet if you like cut little patches into your scalp and looked under there, you'd find gold.
Yep.
Maybe you need to go mining for gold.
You are.
By the way, this is Answers in Atheism channel does not advocate mining for gold under your scalp. That was a joke.
Or turning in your hair. It's going to be.
Right.
It's going to take a lot of hair.
Oh my God. So I asked Kafai if 8 grams dried as a heroic dose, And he said, when in doubt, double it. That would be 16 grams dried. Kafai, no. No. Don't
Mine,
do that.
mine are coming out white, BS. I skipped silver. I went right to white.
Yeah, I wish
I'm
I'd go to white.
I'm gonna have a righteous chin like Scott Duke has there eventually. It's gonna be all nice and white.
Double the dose, double the hero. Yeah. Anyway, so I was thinking about like when you go to heaven. Okay, you go to heaven. You don't get to take any of your live friends with you. They're all gone. You can't wake up in your room and go have toast, right? You're gonna have Jesus toast. Oh, is toast in heaven? Have a picture of Jesus.
Have you heard of Kat Kerr?
Cat Kerr?
Cat Kerr, the pink-haired,
Kat Kerr, the pink-haired prophetess.
No.
pink-haired prophetess.
Oh,
of
well, you
puffery.
can have toast in heaven. You can have whatever you want. You can eat all you want. They have huge buffets and lava slides, and Superman teaches the angels how to fly. And guess who it is? It's Christopher Reeves, of course. How did the angels learn to fly before Christopher Reeves got there? I don't know. And there's a giant warehouse there. So if you lost an arm or a leg, when you get to heaven, you go to the big warehouse and you go to
Amazon?
the bin and you pick out a new one and you put it on. Oh, she's a treat to listen to, Mike. Oh, you're missing out.
Oh, you gotta get me a link.
It's
Oh,
like having
just
a
type it in.
third
Just type in Kat Kerr. Katkerr. I think it's 2 R's. She has pink hair. She's the one that was trying to chase away the hurricane in Florida, waving her
She
stick
made
around.
prophecies about Trump.
And then the hurricane still came.
She
So,
does.
Yeah, she predicted Trump would be reelected.
She reminds me of like a third grader talking about what heaven will be like.
But here's you want the kicker? Are you ready for the kicker?
What's the kicker?
Her day job, her real job, whatever you want to call it, is writing homeschool materials.
Oh my God.
I kid you not. And oh, by the way, the Lord blessed her with a new home in a gated community in Florida. She's doing okay for being pink-haired, talking about heaven with lava roller coasters and waving her stick at hurricanes. She's got a home in a gated community in Florida.
Maybe she's the one that the alligator ate.
I bet she didn't see that coming. Bada bing.
It's just okay. They got a picture of her. Oh, there she is. There, Cat Kerr.
There, you gotta watch some of her stuff, Mike. I
gotta watch Cat Kerr.
It is special. It is special.
Yeah.
She goes to heaven all the time. She goes to the trials where the demons are in chains and they're before the judge, and she's in heaven all the time, and she tells you all about it. It's amazing.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I probably interrupted you, but I just wanted to correct you that there are people who go to heaven all the time. She's got the what do you call the ear of the God or whatever, and yeah, God told her Trump was going to be reelected, and God tells her who the demons are and all that good stuff. Oh, she just can go on and she does. She can go on for hours talking this stuff.
Trump got reelected?
He did. He is president.
In heaven?
No, according to heaven.
According to heaven, Trump got reelected. Oh my goodness.
When you go to heaven, they don't even recognize Biden. Trump is actually president of the world. Who's that guy? Oh, his name's on the tip of my tongue. The one that's always on with his wife. He prophesized that Trump is actually president of the world that's recognized in heaven.
Is he the one that died recently? The one that was always on with his wife?
No, I don't think that's him.
Does all the toast in heaven have a Jesus picture on
it? It's moldy bread.
like if you got a bag of potato chips, every one of them would probably have a Jesus picture on it, right? Okay. Kylan Lee advanced to the 20-30 gram level. Yeah, that would be a trip. Yeah. Anyway, I don't know about advancing that far. How far do we want to advance? Uh, like if I cut my head off, how far would that get me in the cosmic
Ask
consciousness?
ask a ask a praying mantis.
Yeah, yeah. Anyway, so what's in my box? Me. What's in my box?
What's in the box?
What's in my box? I got a thing in my box, and I want science to explain my thing in the box. Well, what part? What part you want science to explain? Proprioception? Your vision? Give me a part. Give me something concrete to explain. I can explain it.
Did you say
Anyway.
proprioception or priapism?
Proprioception. What is prietism?
That's that 4-hour-long hard-on.
Oh my God, Scott! This family-friendly show.
Oh my God, I'm sorry about that. That's when you have an erect penis more than 4 hours.
I
that
don't
better?
think I wouldn't like that.
The teacher asked Timmy, "What's an election?" And Timmy says, "I don't know, but if you have one for more than 4 hours, you should see your doctor."
Oh my God.
Timmy, that kid.
Anyway, let's see. Did I link Bernard? I should link Bernard's.
Dang, what's that guy's Johnny something is that guy's name.
Who
Is
did
the
what?
world as it is in itself, and my
Whoop. What did I do? Okay. This is Bernard's course. He has a 7-part course on the incoherence of ordinary intuitions.
But first, you have to spend 36 straight hours meditating with no food or water in a hot box, and then you take the course, and then you're a believer for life.
Yep. Yeah. So he's got this course, and it's like hard to sit through. I'm telling you, I'm having trouble. I do have transcripts. Let me link that Bernardo's course. He's like, he hits all the points. I mean, he hits all the bullshit philosophy of the mind things, and so probably worth checking out. We can go through his book and see if he's got an argument, because if he's got an argument, we should be convinced, right? We should be absolutely slam dunk convinced about the world mind, and Kafai would be happy if that happened.
Every time somebody's accused me of being closed-minded or I don't want to believe in the supernatural, I always tell them, no, I despise driving in traffic. If I could just pop myself over to the store or pop myself over to here or pop myself over to there, I would take it in an instant.
Oh,
That
yeah.
would be good.
Yep.
I've dreamed about that ever since I read Perry Rhodan's adventure series when I was a kid. It was like a science fiction series for elementary school kids, and it had this gopher-like alien.
Enlow. Johnny Enlow.
There you go.
Johnny Enlow is the guy. Yeah, there's another one. John, put that down, Mike. His name's Johnny Enlow. That's another one you want to look up.
Johnny Enlow.
He's got the ear of God or whatever too. He's special. Yeah, he's the one. He's always on with his wife, and his wife's always sitting there, kind of sideways, staring at him, and giving that little
Enlow,
nod.
is that a Hawaiian name, or where's that come from?
I don't know. He's got kind of a scruffy salt and pepper beard.
Mm-hmm.
And,
Well, you know what's cool? We have our own resident wacko in the side chat right now. There he is. Little world consciousness, crazy person. Sorry, Kafai. I am your friend. I'm your friend, but I'm gonna give you shit.
I was Googling the nonsense prophets, and there it was.
Well, Kastrup made some interesting assertions, such as the mind being some sort of filter for the for the world mind, the Uber mind or whatever he called it, but he never really established any reason to think that there is such a thing as an Uber mind, nor that the brain is such a filter for it. So I guess I'm fuzzy on that aspect of it.
I put a link for you in the side chat there, Mike. You can check it out later.
Okay, let's see here. Oh, that's is that?
That's Johnny and his missus. They've got some special prophecies and what God tells them and all that. Yeah, it's entertaining.
Oh my goodness.
God talks to him.
Wait a minute, she's talking. Okay, there she is talking. Like the parable that Jesus told, like the wheat and the tares, how the wheat and the tares would be removed, not the wheat, but what the fuck is what the?
That's talking about the parable of the wheat and the tares in the New Testament.
Yeah,
as attributed to Jesus.
When he starts doing the prophecies, though, God told me, and it's like, and well, you know, Owen at Telltale, he covers all these people, and he digs the ones out from 10 years ago. God told me in 10 years, and
those are the best.
Didn't happen. Oh, well, you're accusing me of being a false prophet now? Yeah.
And actually, technically, according to the Old Testament, you should be stoned to death.
You're not supposed to listen to them anymore.
Here's the flowchart on that. If you prophesy in any other God's name, stoned to death. If you prophesy in, the Yahweh's name, but what you prophesy doesn't come to pass, stoned to death.
Yep. And these. They keep right on going, and their audience goes, yeah, never mind that you got all those things wrong.
Oh my. Okay, I'm gonna put him in my description so everybody can enjoy him.
Yeah, when you're in that mode, watch some of Johnny and Kat Kerr. You'll be entertained. It's nothing but for entertainment. I mean, don't. It's nothing beyond that because it is hilarious. And there's some other ones too. What's his name? Kent Christmas, I think. He's another one.
I've heard that name.
Yeah, he tells people, don't you dare say that I'm not talking for God. That's his argument right back. Like he's going to magic zap you if you dare question that he's not talking for God. He points the finger at you. And his name's Christmas. How does that work out? How's your last name Christmas? That's just... Anyway.
Here's the guy that did 20 some grams. He wrote something called psilocybin won't kill you. So he kind of proved it. It's like, I'm going to get a truck, back it up, and just fall into it and start munching and find out if it could kill you. What a great idea. Anyway, don't do that at home, kids.
That's not a great idea. No.
Don't do that at home. Now, don't listen to Old Speed here or Kafai. None of this fucking heroic dose bullshit. Yeah, don't. Yeah, okay. So Icarus already said it. I didn't see that. Yeah.
Nobody wants to see that.
So, I don't know. You guys, do you want to actually get into some content, read this guy's book, and criticize him, and do this on a regular basis? Not now. I want to get out of here now.
I don't mind. I think that would be a good idea.
Yeah,
sure.
I think because he hits all the points of the people that argue for consciousness is not physical, and physicalism is false, and materialism is just horrible. But boy, he strawmans materialism. There's something called representationalism, which some materialists and physicalists subscribe to, which means that we have a representation of what we experience in our heads. And I disagree vehemently with that. But anyway, we can get into some of that stuff. philosophy of the mind. It's a good thing. You know, a lot of these fuckers, that is their last. You know, it's either evolution. If they can't pick on evolution, they're gonna the ones that accept evolution will pick on philosophy of the mind. And if we got rid of all the Christians on the earth, we'd end up with these motherfuckers, these crystal loving, woo woo, crazy people who believe in cosmic consciousness. That's why I want to get off the planet, guys, because this shit is never going to end. I mean, it's like, God.
There's always going to be
Well,
bullshit, and there's
and they
always going to be bullshitters.
They used to believe that the heart thinks. You know, that's why you got stuff about the heart. You feel it in your heart. You know it in your heart. And that was in the days when we didn't know any better, but it was just an assumption because, oh, isn't that cute? And you feel all warm and fuzzy in your chest, right? You don't feel warm and fuzzy in your brain. So people, so if we're going to go by that and just follow these old ways of thinking and everything, we wouldn't have any understanding of the mind at all, because these folks would still be looking at hearts and poking them on a table saying, where's the thinking part in this?
I think different cultures locate that the heart or the seat of the warm fuzzies and your deep innermost feelings in different places. Because I think, like with the first century Jews and Greek speakers, it was the guts, it was the intestines, like the stomach area, because there was a word for, like in the New Testament, when Jesus was moved with compassion, it was a Greek word for intestines that was used.
I feel it in my gut.
Yeah, that's another area of
that's, I mean,
knowledge. That's actually a seat of knowledge in a lot of people's minds.
If you're just going to go by simple intuition or anything, as Moldy Bread says with Ahmed, that you should follow your intuition over science. Again, they'd be poking at intestines and hearts on a table trying to figure out how the mind works. It is not how science works. Science found out, no, it's the brain up here, this fatty thing. That's what's doing it all.
Say, like, when I go with my gut, I'm never wrong. But you'll probably find, if there was a way to study that statistically, that no, when people go with their intuitions, they're wrong a set number of times.
That's a hindsight thing, really.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, if I would have only gone with my gut, and it's like, yeah, but if you didn't, you went with your gut and you were wrong, but you remembered that there was the chance of, well, I could have gone left instead of right, and if I would have gone left, I wouldn't have walked into the pole, right? But you walked into the pole, so it doesn't make any
if you
difference.
paid the hell attention to where you were going, but
unless the pole is not really there,
it could be, or is the pain.
Because this guy says the pole isn't really there, so I guess if you don't believe the pole is really there, you can just walk right through it.
Yeah.
Holy shit. So I just found a dosage converter between LSD and psilocybin. 31 grams of psilocybin would be like the 1,300 microgram pills we used to have back in the 60s. What the fuck were we thinking?
What the fuck were you thinking?
By the way, do not get into a bathtub of gin unless you watch Trailer Park Boys. I don't know what season it was, but what's the name? Fahey? Was that his name? The Trailer Park manager? He got into a bathtub of blue. For some reason, they had all this blue vodka or blue gin, and he poured it into a swimming pool, and he was in there, and he turned blue. It was called the Smurf episode. It was a Smurf episode, but he got
isn't it Marilyn Monroe that took the champagne bath and then found out why you don't take a champagne bath?
Oh, I don't know. I didn't hear about that.
Burns something special.
Burn, baby, burn.
Yeah. Anyway, okay, so we're going to shoot ahead. But before we do, I wanted to know, number one, what we want is an intuition, like something that makes intuitive sense to us about what it is to have a mind and to be conscious. And so we have to think about what is it that we all have in our box that we can't show each other that we want answers about. So that's something to meditate about.
That's your karma.
What do you want to explain? We have to talk about what do we need to explain about consciousness.
You need to add some karma stuff into that, because that's what karma is.
And it's called the hard problem, right? And I don't have a hard problem. I have a good intuition about what's happening to me. So I'd like to share that.
How's your karma today?
My karma? It good. It really good.
Doing good today?
I'm putting mine on an apple and saving it for Halloween.
Mine's
Yeah,
on
karma
a,
apples
mine's on an up
are
mine's
really
on an
good.
upslope. On an upslope today. I'm trying to take a new outlook on a few things. So
Karma apples.
A new outlook is a good thing.
Good. Karma
and we're
apples.
gonna have an open mind this Sunday. So for everybody that says I don't have an open mind, I am gonna put Hugh Ross to the test.
Okay, we're gonna conjure something. Yeah.
Hugh Ross is presenting a scientifically testable model. Quote, these are his words. It is a scientifically testable model that if I play around with these tarot cards and stuff, a UFO is going to show up.
Wow.
His words.
That's a heavy claim.
I have the clip of him saying it. This is a scientifically testable model.
Now he's not talking about like a spaceship, a UFO showing up in your mind.
Oh yeah.
Or
No.
spiritually.
You're gonna see it. Of course, he tells you give your eyes 20 minutes to adjust, or you can be fooled by your eyes. And which he is correct. You should let your eyes adjust. Like if you're gonna go out and look for meteor showers or whatever.
Hugh or your lion eyes?
I'm gonna put somebody to the test. You know, it's a scientifically testable thing, so we're gonna do it. I got my tarot cards and stuff, and on Sunday we're gonna put it to the test, and then we'll have a follow up. And I'm hoping to have some awesome photos of some UFOs, and if I get lucky, I'm gonna go on a ride and see the stars, and there just might be one of those green alien ladies from the Star Trek series, if you know what I mean.
Are they hot?
So, I am looking forward to this.
Which channel is it going to be on?
It's going to be on my channel Sunday evening.
Captive Desk.
Yeah.
Captive Desk, and Tobin plans on joining in, and
well, that should be a good one.
And we're going to have fun, and we're also kicking off the Halloween and everything, you know, because it's the first of Halloween. So
it's spooky
season. But we're also going to put it to the test. We're going to monkey around with this stuff, and I'm going to get my camera ready, and I want to see a UFO, or I'm going to send Hugh an email. And one thing I guess I understand with Hugh is he does respond to people. So if nothing shows up, I am going to send him, and I'm going to say, I did your scientific test, and nothing showed. Well, I'm not going to say nothing showed up. Excuse me. We shall see. We shall see.
Yeah.
We have Ocean Keltoi is the Greek god kind of believer, right? Believes in the old Norse gods. Or not.
Yeah, he's a pagan.
Norse. Yeah, pagan. Yeah. Maybe he should show up. Twi'lek? Twi'lek, is that the name of the green? Oh, I can't remember that episode.
She had short hair, short brownish hair, something like that, and was green and was doing the dance and being very
provocative,
very arousing to the James D. Kirk.
Oh yeah. Kirk kind of.
I am looking forward to that. I mean, who wouldn't look forward to that? Oh, and my wife, you know, she says, hey, if I get picked up and there's the green alien lady and everything and stuff, I guess I pretty much have a green light. So.
Wow.
So
that's your hall pass.
Yeah, that's my hall pass. If the UFO picks me up and there's a green Star Trek lady, I got a hall pass.
I don't know if
well, make sure you use a green condom. You don't know what kind of space critters you can catch.
I'm old. It doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah, it's like what it'll do.
The older you get, the less a life sentence means.
I'm stuck on
12. Remember that. you youngins.
Yeah.
Can't find any decent pictures. Did Twilight have like two big green things growing out of her head? I think so. Yeah. Anyway.
I just remember. Yeah, I'm imagining a short brownish color haircut, and like the
She looks
what do you
green.
call it? Not sequiny, but what do you call it?
She looks green to me.
So the green, yeah, but it's like, yeah, I'm down, and so I mean, who wouldn't be? I mean, you get to go see the stars, and this hot green chick's gonna do a lap dance. I mean, shoot. So
Is that true? Green ladies equals green light? I don't think so.
hey, there's
No.
hey, what's happening, AR? Yeah, so but it is I am taking it seriously and he says there's no rules to it, because even if you just like listening to the wrong music that has occult themes in it, and like I thought that was like a lot of music I already listened to, and that hasn't worked, but that there's no rules. If you just dabble in it, you don't have to actually be one of these so-called tarot card psychics or whatever. So it is a scientifically testable model that all you have to do is dabble in it, and UFOs or aliens or both will show. Yeah, there it is right there. You like my AI pick? I am having so much fun with that AI stuff, let me tell you.
Yeah, I got to get on that because today I wanted to find a thing in a box.
That's as close. Yeah. That's as close as it would make for me. That's me in AI world, because I was getting a lot of females coming up, and they were really cool pics, but I kind of wanted a dude, right? So because I'm a dude, and that's my pronoun. So
I'm gonna link that.
I said no, I want a dude. So I put in no, I want a dude playing with the. So there it is. That's me as a dude playing with tarot cards when AI creates it. How about that?
Where did you get that vest?
It's interdimensional.
I'm putting that in the chat, and I'm linking
Mama,
it.
I want an interdimensional vest like Dave.
You just have to believe hard enough, Scott. You're not believing hard enough.
Hey, Dave, I noticed
your shoes together.
Your views are coming up. You got like 100 views last night.
The show did awesome. It was an awesome show. Trees had a lot of great research and stuff he was talking about. Stephanie was on giving us information about how boats actually work and everything. We didn't have any glitches. No neighbors fell on the power lines.
Good. Yeah, that's always good.
It was, and I picked up some subs. So I don't know how that happened, but all hail Bigfoot. And it was a great show. So if you haven't seen it, go check it out. We had a great show.
I use power lines to catch neighbors.
Well, my friend.
And I got a new video that's all I got to do is put it together. Speaking of Hugh Ross, I got a new video on Hugh Ross, and I spent a couple days editing up clips of Hugh Ross. So it's just all, and I start out with him being, it's kind of a biography. So that's the teaser. It's going to start out with
was in 1992.
Oh, you're going to find out.
Well,
as soon as I get this together, you're going to find out all his views on everything and how long it's been going on and everything else. It's all going to be in my video. So stay tuned. If Mike didn't interrupt me with these streams, I'd probably have it done by now. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Love you guys. Thanks everybody in the chat. And if you're into summoning demons in the spooky season, stop by Sunday. We're going to have some fun, kick off the Halloween season right.
Okay, boys and girls. We're going to shoot her in the head. Goodbye, cruel world. We're out of here.